Nick and Dan?
Okay, it's Nick here. Thank you. What I'll do, Sarah, if you're willing, I'm just going to date myself into an old film strip and go ping. So this is about
And if
Miradi
people
software
can
and the
mute
IP
themselves,
standards.
please.
Yes, there's some noise in the background.
Okay, so ping. So ping, you can see with these arrows where this actually fits in. Another ping. And so these are parts of both the standards and also Miradi. It's all part of the tool to enable cross-project learning and work to happen across CMP. Bing. So if you take I'm going to start about the classifications first, which we're calling the geekiest and most boring yet essential work CMP does. So you can see a typical theory of change here, ping. And if that's your problem, if you have a bunch of cows sitting in your landscape and ping, one group decides to call it cows, the next cattle, the next livestock, the next grazing, and the next ranching, you don't realize on a database you're all dealing with the same problem. So back in 2008, ping, for both the threats, so both for the diseases and then also for the cures, for the actions, ping, CMP set out to come up with a ping classification system. We found out that the IUCN Red List folks were actually doing the same thing at the same time, oops. But what we were able to do is take those two different efforts and unify them and create a set of unified global classifications of threats and actions, ping. So we published them, those classifications. No, you're going too far. You got to go back. So we published them and they were published in this paper. It was really important to get them in the academic literature, and they became, after some academic controversy, so we had a bunch of back and forth with some folks in Cambridge about different classification systems. But we published them and they've been used and really widely adopted around the world. So there's over 650 citations. It's applied across the Red List. It's used by governments around the world. They're baked into Miradi. My favorite use of these is if you go to the ICCB, the SCB meetings, or if you go to IUCN, the World Conservation Congress, a lot of the symposia were structured by the threats and the threat classification. So that's how they organized themselves and thought about things. So it's become a real true global standard. Ping. So unfortunately in 2013 though, they ununified. And so we had the Red List and the CMP ones. CMP went ahead and we went on a 7-year cycle to try to update those standards and classifications. We went ahead and came up with version 2.0 of both the action and the threats one. IUCN unfortunately did not come along. They've kind of done some minor tweaks to their version. So they have 3.2 of threats and 2.0 of actions. Ping. In particular, if you could hit a couple times here. The CMP, the threats one didn't change very much in 2013. We added a few threats like disease and stuff, but for the most part it held up. But the actions classification changed very dramatically, and we think it got way, way better. So in particular, if you look at the graphic down below, we were able to segment actions now into just 3 different buckets: target restoration, stress reduction, behavioral change, and then enabling conditions. Version 1.0 doesn't have any of the enabling condition action. So it's missing a whole chunk of things that conservationists do. Ping. So when we did this version in 2013, we worked closely with the IUCN Red List folks. They were into it, they liked our changes, but they couldn't endorse the new version. And in part, we were actually victims of our own success. It was partly because they had tagged so many entries across the Red List with the old classification that they felt their members would rebel if they introduced a new classification. So we kind of held off publishing, and one thing led to another. Now it's 7 years later, and we kind of have 2 different classification systems sitting out there. They haven't really been published, and it's not kind of serving that function that originally it was envisioned it would hope to do, to become a unified system. So ping. So what's next? Well, it is time for our next 7-year revision of these classification systems. We would like to approach IUCN folks as well as other interested parties. For example, Environment Canada is really into kind of exploring classifications and using them. We propose to look and vet any changes to the threat and actions classification. We might want to think about 3rd level classifications, maybe also addressing stresses, and if we're really crazy, thinking about contributing factors. You already saw how it links to CAMEL and coming up with actions for their standard actions for each of those different classification types. And this go around, I think it would be really important to publish the results as well so that it gets into the formal academic literature and it gets more systematic. So in all our spare time, we would like to take this up in the next year or so. We need folks to participate in developing and peer reviewing the revisions and also in publicizing this work. Please contact me if you think you're geeky enough and would like to be a part of the fun that we're having here. All right, next. Second part of this is about Miradi. I won't go a lot into it, but Miradi is continuing to evolve. So Miradi started off as desktop, working on simple projects. We then got into projects and programs, kind of putting it online with Miradi Share 1.0. We are now working and just released Miradi Share 2.0. And now as we get into 2.0, we're adding a lot of functionality. Think about projects, but also project to program relationships, supporting grants and supporting cross-organizational learning. I don't have time to go into much detail here, but a couple highlights, ping. So one is you already heard a little bit from Annette, but we're creating this ability to take data out of Miradi and through APIs, link it to Power BI and kind of create all kinds of cool dashboards, ping. Carrie also, next one please. Carrie also talked a bit about, ping, the one-click Miradi Share reports. So Carrie already talked about a little bit this, how you can take that template, ping, and create a really cool formatted report. This is Barbara's legacy, I should add, because Dan Salzer had a volunteer who was wheelchair bound, had trouble using her hands. She would come in and help us clean up Miradi reports once a week as a volunteer for work, puts tons of time into it. Unfortunately, a couple of years ago, she recently passed away, but part of her estate legacy was left to increase the reports and do better reports in Miradi. So Barbara not only volunteered her time, she even left money because she thought this geeky stuff is so important in terms of making conservation happen. So we do want to celebrate Barbara and what she contributed to Miradi. Ping. And then the last piece I want to do is that we are in the Miradi world starting to work right now on online diagramming, and then hopefully in 6 months we'll have fully fleshed online diagramming. As part of that, we're thinking through the whole diagram experience, what it looks like, how it interacts, how people work with it. And we want to make it much more user-friendly and much more easy. So it's going to be really cool. Ping. What we need there, one other thing is we've also revamped our subscription options as we move online. So Miradi Share is now much cheaper and much more powerful. So we encourage you to start thinking about programmatic use of Miradi Share. Ping. So what's next? Certainly, definitely check out Miradi, follow along on some of the new innovations. Even starting about next week, the diagram display will be live and interactive. You can edit factors directly in Miradi Share, so we'll be rolling stuff out. We're happy to give free demos of Miradi's current and planned features for your org. But here's what we need from you all. We need some folks, both Miradi newbies and some experienced users to help us test our new diagramming user interface. So I'd love to get a dozen people in both of those categories who can come and help us test this and make sure it's intuitive and easy and works well for both newbies and useful people. We'll be offering a bunch of demos and trainings in these new things. And if you want to get in touch, you can either email me or support@miradi.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick. That's very impressive. It is amazing how much things have progressed over the years. Lots of adulation for you in the chat. Matt Muir had one suggestion regarding classifications linking to conservationevidence.com. We have a few moments if anyone else has some questions for Nick on this topic.